Let me ask you something. Do you think honesty, integrity, and character are as important today as they were 20, 30, or 50 years ago? I don't know about you, but sometimes it feels like in the world we live in, those words have become old fashioned. But I personally believe they're needed today more than ever. Because your character isn't revealed when life is easy, it's revealed when doing the right thing costs you something. Today, I want to tell you a story of a watch that God used to teach me one of the greatest lessons about integrity I've ever learned. Several years ago, I started taking my health seriously. I was walking every day, I was taking boxing classes, trying to lose weight, trying to eat healthy, and trying to become a better steward of the body that God had entrusted in me and also had given me the second chance to live. And as I become more consistent, I wanted a way to track my progress, my walks, my distance, my heart rate, um, all of the little things that would help me to keep accountable to hit my goals. The funny thing is, I've never really been a watch person. And other than my time in the military, I hadn't wore a watch in over 25 years. My best friend, the same friend who helped me after my motorcycle accident, he had bought himself an Apple Watch Ultra. And for almost a year, he kept telling me how much he loved it and showing me all the cool things that it would do. And honestly, he was right. It looked pretty amazing. But there was one problem. I'm pretty frugal. I love spending money on my wife and my daughter and blessing other people. But spending several $100s on myself for a watch, man, that felt hard. It just didn't feel like it made sense for me. I kept telling myself, it's just a watch. I already have a phone. Do I really need it? Is it a want or a need? Kept going back and forth, you know? And so eventually I decided maybe I would buy one, just not at full price or a new one. So I started looking on Marketplace and I found several used ones for around $400. Then I found one that really caught my eye. It was even in a brand new box or brand new sealed original box. The gentleman selling it explained that his wife had bought it for him, but it simply had more technology than he wanted. He said he appreciated a gift, but he'd rather sell it and buy something simpler that just told time. It sounded believable, but I was a little cautious. So I drove almost an hour to meet him at his lawnmower repair shop. The box looked perfect, still factory sealed, just like he said. We talked for a while and eventually agreed on $400. Then I said, before I pay you, I'd like to open it and make sure everything looks okay, just like you said I could do over the phone. That's where everything changed. He immediately became uncomfortable, got a little defensive. He said, no, if you open it and decide not to buy it, then it'll be open and it won't be sealed anymore. And somebody else may not want it if you don't take it. Now I had a decision to make. What do I do? Do I trust him? Do I walk away? So I decided to do one more thing. I stepped outside and did a little internet search of the serial number. And as far as I could tell, online, the watch was a genuine Apple Watch. But I was still a little bit nervous. So I gave Apple a call. I gave them the serial number from the box, and they confirmed it was a real Apple serial number. That gave me enough confidence. So I handed him the $400. I picked up the box and I walked out to my Jeep. I was feeling like a kid on Christmas morning, a kid in a candy store. I carefully cut the seal open, opened the box, and everything looked perfect until I turned it on. My stomach dropped. The display had like 4 or 5-year-old child drawings that looked like they had been done in crayon. The only thing that worked was the display with these crazy childish drawings. Nothing else, no other buttons worked. And it wasn't an Apple Watch. It was a counterfeit, but it looked real. In that moment, I felt embarrassed, angry, sick, disappointed, mad, just frustrated, everything. I walked back inside and I showed him the watch in a box. And he kind of looked at me and said, well, I'll give you $100 back for your time. And then he kind of shrugged it off again and said, well, sometimes things like this just happen. To this day, I honestly don't know if he knew or not, or if he was the scammer or if he got scammed. Only God knows that. But I remember exactly what happened next, not around me, but within me. It wasn't an audible voice, but deep in my spirit, I sensed God saying, take what you have and leave. I could have argued. I could have called the police. I could have made a scene. I could have started a fight. But instead, I took the $100. I took the watch. I got in my Jeep and I drove home. I was angry. I was real angry. I told my wife and daughter, I will never buy another Apple Watch. I'll never buy another watch. But for about a week, that fake watch sat on my shelf. And every time I looked at it, it reminded me of what I had lost. About a week later, I was at my Saturday morning boxing class and I was working out and I realized something. I still wanted that watch. Not because it was expensive, not because it was the latest and greatest gadget, not because I wanted people to see me wearing it or I wanted one like my buddy had. I wanted it because I genuinely thought it would help me to stay accountable to my health goals that I had set for myself. It would help me track my workouts, my walks, my heart rate, my progress. It would help me to stay focused on becoming a better steward of my body and my fitness and the second chance at life God gave me. The watch was never the goal. Becoming healthier so I could serve better and my family and God and others and myself, that was the goal. So I went home and I looked at my wife and my daughter and I said, you know what? I think I'm going to buy one. A few days later, I walked into the Apple store. I bought a brand new one. I used a veteran's discount and I decided it was time to move forward. Well, almost. Because while I walked out of that store with a new watch, I also walked away with a lesson that has stayed with me ever since and will stay with me for the rest of my life. And that's what I want to share. Looking back, I realized the greatest cost wasn't the money I spent. The greatest value was the character God was building in me through that experience. That counterfeit watch still sits on my shelf in my office today. People have asked me, why do I keep it? Because it's a reminder. I could have sold it. Somebody probably would have gave me all my money back. But then I would have been the same exact type of person that hurt me, scammed me. And that would dishonor God. Integrity isn't just telling the truth. Integrity is choosing to do what honors God, even when nobody else would ever know. Proverbs 10:9 says, whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out. Integrity is revealed when doing the right thing costs you something. That fake watch taught me 3 lessons. Faith. Sometimes God doesn't remove every painful experience. Sometimes He uses those experiences to shape us into the people He's calling us to become. And focus. Don't spend your life focused on what you've lost. Focus on what God is teaching you through it. Every setback can become a lesson if we allow Him to work in us. And fortitude. Character isn't built in easy moments. It's built in every time we choose what is right instead of what is easy. Every difficult decision is another opportunity to become a little more like Christ. So today, I wear this watch every single day. Yes, it tracks my steps. It tracks my workouts. It tracks my sleep. And it even tracks the time. But every time I look down at it, it reminds me that God can use even our mistakes, even painful experiences, to shape our character if we're willing to let Him. The greatest value I received was never the watch. It was the lesson. And more importantly, it was discovering once again that God is faithful, even when life is disappointing. So let me leave you with two questions. First, when has integrity cost you something? Maybe it cost you money. Maybe it cost you recognition. Maybe it cost you a promotion. Or maybe it simply cost you your pride. Now, here's the most important question, more important question. What is one opportunity this week where you can choose integrity even when no one else is watching? One conversation where you tell the truth. One decision that honors God. One action that reflects the character of Christ. I'd love to hear your answers. Share them in the comments. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if this message encouraged you, I'd be honored if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me at ronchris-fff. Every week, I share practical Christ-centered messages to help us grow in our faith, stay focused on what matters most, and develop the fortitude to keep moving forward. Until next time, keep faith, stay focused, apply fortitude, and lock it in. God bless. If you like this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I would appreciate you also sharing my YouTube channel and videos with others.